What's up, everyone? I am Zach. Welcome to the Web3 Wind-Up, where we look at this week's winners, losers, some alpha drops, some degen plays, and much, much more. So if you like getting in early to stuff, listen to this live stream. I'm here with Robin, also from Altcoin Edge. Hello, Robin.
Hey guys, what's up? What's up, Zach?
And Ian unfortunately isn't here today. He's actually in South Africa, so fortunately enough for him. So anyway, without further ado, let us get into it. So I'm going to start today. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. I'm starting today with the winner, and this winner is a Binance partnership with Mastercard. It's pretty big. It's going to enable cryptocurrency payments in 19 million stores, right? A quote from the CEO of Mastercard, Michael Maybach, is, "We can unlock the full potential of blockchain technology when we make it easier to access and easier to use." Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, obviously. However, like, you do need a national identity card. Here at the bottom, you can see you need a national identity card to be able to purchase the crypto or use the program, which some would argue in the crypto space is like the antithesis of the ethos of crypto. I think it's quite interesting that the pilot is starting in Argentina, because if you look back in the day, Argentina had roughly like 80% of the United States GDP at around 1880 to 1905, and then that was like half in 1941. And since then, Argentina, right, has had massive problems with inflation and governmental mismanagement, right? So unlike many other countries in the developed world, let's say like the United States, countries in Europe, where we have a secure enough currency, Argentina don't. And according to a Bloomberg article, they've defaulted like 9 times. So that means that Argentinian peso is, quite frankly, pretty shit currency, and everything is done through the US dollar instead. So what this partnership, I believe, means, and what is super interesting, is it gives the normal people access to an alternative means to save, to invest, and to become more entrepreneurial in the global sense. So the Binance card was issued by Credential Payments, right? And it allows users in the region with the possession of the national ID, as I've previously alluded to pay bills with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, and of course Binance Coin. So yeah, I think that was my winner of the week, Robin. What do you think of that yourself? Like,
yeah, I think you're right, man. It's a very good development for those countries in South America. I mean, El Salvador kind of was a pioneer there to really focus on Bitcoin. And the reality is that a lot of these countries have a weak currency, so to bring in cryptocurrency can actually only be better for the people. So they have an alternative, like you said, for the weak currency, I think. And yeah, it's an interesting development. Let's see how that goes. I also think for globalization, in the sense of how we interact with companies and people from there, this could make a game changer, right? Like Michael Saylor always says, like, digital energy in cyberspace, nothing can transact as fast. So yeah, let's see what this brings.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited when you hear things coming out of like great news coming out of different parts of the world, like South America or Asia or like Africa and stuff like that, because I think we have quite a Western American centric view of crypto at this point in time, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So what winner do you have this week yourself, Robin?
So this is actually quite funny, because my winner is actually FTX. And the reason is that FTX, some documents or some financials got leaked, and it showed that they increased the revenue by 1,000% since the crypto craze. So in 2020, the revenues summed up to $89 million, and in 2021, it increased to over $1 billion. And this is this is a huge increase. You don't see companies very often to have this increase. Meanwhile, Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of FTX, has been on a shopping spree in this like crypto winter. And one of the interesting takes from this was that in Q2, FTX didn't really show any of these declines that other companies were showing. So it's definitely a winner. There are some rumors out there that those financials got leaked, maybe because on the background there's an acquisition or a merger going on. You see that more often in business, where things get leaked. By purpose, just to show strength, right, or to show weakness if there's something else in play. So yeah, this is my winner for today. I don't know, what do you think, Zach, of this winner?
Well, I think it's super interesting if we contrast FTX, which hasn't had as much of a blip, whereas Coinbase itself has gone down dramatically. And what I think is super interesting here, I'll just bring it up again, is if you see this highlight a bit, the US business was only a blip on the top line, accounting for less than 5% of FTX's revenue. So there's a massive disparity, I think, again, bringing back to my previous point, on what we consume in a very US-centric, European-centric crypto world, and the actual bottom line for a company like FTX, only 5% of is US business. Like if you think like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, they're all based in New York. The tornado cash debacle in the US, it's again US centric, US focused, even though it was actually it did actually bleed over into Europe with the developer getting arrested in the Netherlands. We still don't have like full details on why that was. But like, you know, crypto is such a much larger thing than US and Europe, like many places like Asia, Russia, South America, Africa. I think it's quite interesting. Sam Bankman-Fried like made a lot of his money early on in arbitrage, like if you don't know what that means, it basically means if Bitcoin is selling at 10K on, let's say, Coinbase, and then it's selling at 15K on Kraken, you'd obviously buy it on Coinbase and then sell it on Kraken. And Sam Bankman-Fried made a lot of money doing that arbitrage trade in Korea, and what came to be known colloquially as the kimchi premium, where he bought it Bitcoin at 10K and sold it at 15K in Korea. So yeah, it's pretty interesting there. Like,
I think so as well, Zach, because yeah, the US market only represents 5% of these official financials, and like you said, like companies are based there in crypto. There's a lot of regulatory focus on the US, and I think that's primarily because everyone knows that if US opens up like the rest of the world to crypto, that's going to be a big game changer. We see the same thing in other industries like online gambling, which is still prohibited in a lot of states in the US, and even though most of the online gambling revenue is made in other territories, there's an extreme focus on the US, and you see that also within the media. There's a big focus there. So yeah, it's definitely interesting, but it also means that there is still a lot of room for growth, right?
absolutely, we can see like the US has banned ICOs a long time ago, so that like stops a lot of American citizens getting in super early. So if and when that opens up, we're going to see a boom again in early stage projects, I would think. Yeah. So moving on quickly to the losers of the week, or the ones that are not doing particularly well. The story for me, well, it has to be Bitboy sues fellow YouTuber Atozy, and well, it's just gone from bad to worse for Bitboy. If you don't know Atozy, he called out Bitboy on. Well, I'll let him speak for himself actually. So let's have a look what Atozy has to say.
All right, some of you guys may know that I'm currently being sued by the largest crypto channel known as Bitboy Crypto for $75,000 or more. A lot of you guys are probably...
So yeah, he's getting sued for $75,000 or more. Yeah, it was based because he called Bitboy a dirtbag, and it was about to do PAMP tokens, which Bitboy shilled apparently at $2.73, and now they're down to like fractions of a cent. So I think it was, so then like the crypto world kicked into gear. Everyone's favorite online sleuth, Zachxbt, got bored and tracked the ROI on Bitboy's 100x moonshot videos for all of 2021. And there's 30 days, 90 days, and there is year to date. So as you can see here, Robin, there's only a couple of greens here, which is BitDAO and Network, which is a metaverse play, I believe. So yeah, not the greatest there for Bitboy. And then just to add, like, you know, a little bit more fun, everybody's favorite crypto whale, Kobe, donated 100 grand to Atozy. And basically, like, Bitboy has, like, shielded a lot of projects, and lots of influencers have, in fact, like, and lots haven't disclosed they were getting paid. And I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of that, but one thing is for sure, I wouldn't be kicking the hornet's nest, because as you've seen there with Zachxbt, there's a lot of losers out there. Plain Bagel, finance influencer online on YouTube, said, funnily enough, the argument that Bitboy's business is advice, which is part of the suing document that was sent to Atozy, the Bitboy's business advice is incredibly dangerous for him. Coming from someone who actually is registered to give financial advice, there's a lot of regulation around who can give financial advice, what you can say if it's your business, etc. Needless to say, Bitboy has violated quite a few rules on that front. Normally, YouTubers are protected from liability because their business, vis-a-vis, aka YouTube, technically isn't advice-based. Admitting your business is advice-based, though, might open you up to real liability. So this is like, you're on a slippery slope. Coffeezilla, everyone's favorite YouTube sloop.
This YouTuber is getting because he called a crypto bro a dirtbag.
So yeah, he did a video on it as well. And then we also had like Reddit coming in, of course, my favorite Reddit. Well, one of the Reddit comments was like, imagine being hated so much that fucking crypto whales donate to help you lose. And then like we have, a classic, well, it's pretty, so here it is here. Let's watch it. So he has actually dropped the lawsuit subsequently in the last day or so. So here it is here.
Okay. Where we're at is, at this point, it has become public. It's become an absolute fuck. We know Kobe gave $100,000. So, hopefully that money will go to good use. But yeah, so we are going to drop lawsuit 100%. And I'm sorry it became public. Okay.
Yeah, and if you study like nonverbal communication, there's some classic cues there with Bitboy, his nerve, not knowing what to do with his hands, slurring his words. Yeah, he's obviously quite nervous there. He's made a bit of a boo-boo. So what do you think about that, Robin? Like,
well, about his hand gestures and stuff. He did come quite far in the World Series of Poker last year. So
did he really? Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually might be better in that in other situations. Maybe it shows how he thinks about this. I just find like we YouTubers, we should not fight each other in court. As simple as that, right? Like we definitely shouldn't do that. And I think like we all know that if he makes videos about what is going to the moon and which might be exaggerated and whatsoever, someone is going to criticize that, and you need to be able to take some criticism. And I don't think that video hurt him that well, because he still is one of the biggest YouTube channels and he still got his views. So doing these things is actually hurting his brand unnecessarily, which is probably an act out of maybe emotion, right? Which, yeah, like it's sad in a sense, or it's a pity, I think. But what I find interesting is that obviously that list of Zachxbt about how well these coins are doing, we all know that by this time compared to last year, maybe and if you would compare it to last 60 days, most coins are down over 60%, right? So I was quite surprised to see 2 coins in that list that are actually in the green.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, like the point is just like financial advice is one of the things. Is it financial advice? Is it not financial advice? And then how are people perceiving the content, right? And you see that basically if it is entertainment, then don't sue for entertainment, because we also don't want to sue comedians, do we? Right. So I think probably, like I think you mentioned it, it's more an American type of thing to do when you're not really happy with something, to find legal measurements, because it can be a big threat, right? 75K or more can be a big deal for people. So it could have been that it was used to try to get that video out, to just clear up that brand perception, right? But which is really the wrong tool to use that, to use for enhancing your brand or making your brand better.
I think he's brought more attention to it now, like, and if he'd just not done anything, it would have been better off for him anyway. Like it's just no good in general. So it's not good, not a good look for the space. So what would be your loser of the week, Robin?
My loser is Celsius. I hope that everyone knows this as a loser already, because I mean, funnily enough, they're suing. So the losers this week are parties that are suing others, and Celsius has been, in the news quite negatively. They weren't able to pay the customers. They had a massive hit for all this, crypto downturn in the last months. But now they're suing another party called Prime Trust to over $17 million worth in value in tokens that this party was or is holding for them. And that's kind of ironic, right? The company that actually cannot pay people is now suing someone else that is not paying them. So that's why it's my loser of the week. And I think what's interesting is that because of the bankruptcy, this third party, if they're holding these assets, have to basically hand them back to Celsius, right? And they haven't done so far, or they're kind of denying comments to this news outlet. So it's quite interesting to understand what's going on there. But in the bigger scheme of things, this is another hit for Celsius, and that's why it's the loser this week. What do you think, Zach?
Well, I think Celsius has been an absolute debacle. I think your man was a snake oil salesman, the CEO. I think, if you read the chapter 11, right, and chapter 11s are a disaster in general. So I'll get into that in a second. But on the chapter 11, they had lost, somebody in the company had lost 35K worth of Ethereum. Is that somebody's retirement fund? 35,000 Ethereum. That's a lot of money. Just lost the private keys. Okay, no ideas where that went. And then there was another couple of 100 million was lost due to they just an undisclosed lender lost it. So okay, a couple of 100 million there. Anyway, listening to Laura Shin on Unchained, which I thoroughly recommend, the administration cost of bankruptcy is going to be huge for Celsius. So Kirkland Atlas, right, and in the 3 or 4 weeks since this has happened, have already billed for $3 million. And according to Adam Leviton, Georgetown Law professor, it's going to be about $100 million in admin fees. And these are the liquidations are going to get that first out of the pot. So the amount it costs on the debtor side or the creditor side, sorry, whatever one is, they usually don't want the company to go into liquidation because it costs so much, and the amount of pie that is left is so much diminished after the liquidator has taken its costs out. What I find also super interesting is CDFI or whatever stupid analogy that was, like decentralized exchanges have, with humans behind them, have failed, like Celsius, like Voyager and the like. However, things like Uniswap and Aave and Compound, because they had over collateralized, well, maybe not so much Uniswap, the others had over collateralized loans, they're still fine. And it's more trust in the code. In code we trust, rather than the human who wrote the code or whatever it is. And if you think, and also just quickly, a quick update on Uniswap. Uniswap is obviously a huge DEX, and they're making if I can just pull it up here, actually I will
Pull it up, man.
So I'll just pop this boat up. So have a look at this now. This is Uniswap, right? 25th, which is whatever, yesterday. $1.6 million in fees, right? Always over $1.5 million in fees. This is huge amounts of money, right? If we go back to maybe maybe middle of the bull run, where we talk November, they're bringing in how much in fees? Let's have a look. 8 million, $8 million in fees, and this did not really translate in anything in the token price. Okay, so what actually has happened is they have been a change in the streamline of the Uniswap grant program, and this was to basically change it, to put in basically to give dividends, for want of a better term, to the people who provide liquidity. So this passed by 19 million votes to 400 apparently. So it's a governance proposal, and it's set to finally turn this profit faucet onto the 3 liquidity pools. I'll pop it up here for you now if I can. And this is I'll just quickly do it. This is it here. So like it's pretty interesting. What's going to happen there? Does this mean that like Uniswap is the price is going to start rocketing? Because this is like, you know, a hell of a lot of money we're talking about. Like here, like I know this is back in whatever November, 8 million a day, but this is like if you go to today, like 1 million a day, 1 million, like it's 1.5 million a day. That's insane. 1.7 million like a couple of days ago. What do you think of this, Robin? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it just shows that Uniswap is actually a real business, right? The funny thing is because they're generating those fees, but they're also distributing those fees among all the participants. So unlike a regular business, and if I have to compare it, for instance, to a casino business, they would take all that revenue for themselves, right? And they would pay out their dealers and stuff like that. In Uniswap's case, it's like other people that come in and they bring the liquidity, they get fees for that, and like these fees generated, basically, it's really decentralized in a sense. And what it does show though is that trusted versus decentralized is really a thing, right? We see now with the volatility of the market that these trusted parties that just, where trust is involved, where humans are involved to really make sure that the operations go well, is more vulnerable than something that is decentralized. And I think that, that's the main thing here, but it shows as well that decentralized organizations can be very similar, as successful as like real businesses that we are, that we know in the world outside of crypto.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. Like in code we trust, essentially. I just want to give a shout out to a few of the comments, Darbid. Thanks very much. I'm glad you find my mic is better. And yeah, Goblin Town, of course, we'll be talking a little bit about NFTs and Goblin Town a little bit later, so stay tuned, Samat. So I think we'll quickly have a look at like the markets themselves, see what Bitcoin is doing. So I'll just transition across here. So, sorry, that's in a bit deep. So as we can see here, we've had a decent rundown since about April, everybody knows. And then at the start of middle of June, we dropped down to as low as 17,000. And now we are basically, we've ranged more or less between whatever, 18 again, up to about 24, and then we're back down to 20. So, what do you think is going to happen more likely? Do you think we're going to hit 18,000 more, or do you think we're going to get up to 25,000 first? What do you think, Rowan?
Yeah, like it's it's an ascending channel, and usually, very often, that's due a correction. It breaks, but it really depends on more factors than that. But it looks like it wants to break down from it. There is, I think, news coming out from the Federal Reserve, and depending on what that outcome is, we can either see maybe a sort of fake out if it's positive, or if it's negative, I think we will go down. And if we go below the 20K, then we're quite quickly way below the 19K as well, and going back to those previous lows.
I think we'll definitely hit those lows again. I'm a bit bearish in general. I use my timeline invariably off the halvening, and I think we've a long way to go to a halvening. So I definitely see us hitting around the 18K price target again. The question is, will we drop down below that 18,000 to significant 15 or 12? I don't know. The jury's still out on that one, but I do think if the question was what do I think we're going to see first, 25 grand or 18, and in that binary option, I definitely think we're going to go back down 17 or 18. Here's Tiberius. Tiberius saying good point, but I think we should go down to 17, 18, and after September 10th, then move up for the rest of the year. Quite possibly, traditionally, Bitcoin has been quite strong in the September to December type time, and then falling off a cliff once again when it comes to January. Yeah. So Tiberius, I think, look, I absolutely could well agree with that. I think we're going to it's going to take one hell of a push, right, to get us back into 32 region. And I think, we could be a while for that, but I definitely think we're going to hit 18 before we hit 25.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point, right? We've seen almost many years where end of the year there is some kind of run up, This year, always people say, oh, this time it might be different. This year, I think the winter is going to be very interesting from a macroeconomic standpoint. So, we know that inflation is high. We know that gas prices, energy prices are, highest ever. We haven't seen that in decades. So will that have an impact on that run up, right? So yeah, like it's going to be very interesting. But if I remember correctly, September is usually not the best month for Bitcoin, and then after that, it just goes into fifth gear. So hopefully, it happens this year as well. September is next month.
Well,
so then,
yeah, well, September we have the long-awaited Ethereum merge. So if you just
that's
quickly
true.
look at the Ether charts here now, so like as you can see, like Ethereum, much like Bitcoin, crashed all the way down. It reached a low of $800 here at around the 18th of June. And then we've had a massive reversal in regards to getting up to it went all the way up to $2,000, doubled in a bit, like whatever. So I think what was quite interesting there was people were getting super excited about the merge, and also the possibility of having a proof of work coin that is going to be like a fork of Ethereum. This happened previously back in the day with Bitcoin Cash, and then we've also had a shitload of derivatives of Bitcoin. But as Michael Saylor will be the first one to tell you, there's only one Bitcoin, and one crypto. That's Bitcoin. However, like I personally think that the merge is going to be kind of like a wet blanket. I think it's going to be kind of like Adabring on the smart contracts, kind of like EOS years ago when they had their big like upgrade or whatever. Load of hype beforehand. When it actually happens, meh. Especially when you consider that, like the price actions, like it's doubled in price and more. And like if you think about it, Ethereum, like if the merge goes perfect, it has to go perfect, because if it doesn't go perfect, if anything goes wrong, it's going to go down. And even if everything goes right and nothing happens per se, I think prices are going to retract. Like I do think we'll be. So my question again, like binary options, Robin, what do you think we'll see first? Do you think we'll see Ethereum over 2,000, or do you think you see Ethereum under 1,000? I am personally going to go with under 1,000. What's your opinion there, Robin? Like, what do you think of Ethereum before you even had to answer the question?
Yeah, like no, the merge is coming. I think a lot of the positivities about it is priced in, or you see it in the price action kind of. So there's not that much room before it happens. Then obviously what I see is that there are there are messages out there about potential bugs, some uncertainty. So it's not that it's it's an often ready deal, this Ethereum merge, to say it in that way. So there's some uncertainty going on there. So what I think is actually that there's more chance of it to correct, right, to the downside. And initially I thought indeed below a 1K probably, but at the same time, that low of what was it, 800, 900 of Ethereum, that did happen after the Three Arrow Capital and Luna crash, where actually a lot of positions got liquidated that were related to Ethereum, or Ethereum got liquidated in the decentralized lending protocols and stuff. So we obviously don't have that right now, probably in the same sense. So maybe we go to just 1K, and we find support there. Who knows? But yeah, to answer your question, I think in my mind it's more likely that it corrects than that it goes to 2K, because if it goes to 2K, then everything has to be fantastic, really, right? And it's a big thing, this merge. Like it's there's nothing exactly alike. There have been forks out there, but these forks, they didn't have decentralized lending and borrowing pools. They didn't have NFTs. Like there's much more going on this Ethereum network than like the classic forks that are known to us. So I think this is going to be a much bigger thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tiberius in the comments as well agrees. Yep, even if that does go perfect, a lot of ETH has been locked up for the merge. Yeah, and a domino effect under 1K. I think everybody though is looking at like if it goes anywhere near 1K, like going to start stacking up. Like I think it's 16 Ethereum you need to get a node going. For I don't know who that's with. Bankless guys were promoting it there recently. Now they're perma, eat bulls, those guys, and I think long term for Ethereum, this is definitely like a positive thing. However, I think we're going to see like maybe the irrationality of the market in the short to medium term of it. Yeah, so guys, if you're not subscribed, I really recommend subscribe. We're going to be doing this live stream at this time once a week for the foreseeable future, and we're trying to get it shared out to as many people as you can. So I'd really appreciate if you could give us a like, give it a share, recommend it to your friends, and all. So next, I think Robin, we shall go on to the ICO. That was do you have an ICO there already?
Yeah, like obviously it would be nice to share some ICO that we're looking at, and there's actually one. There are not that many at the moment. There are a few, I think, but there's one coming up on DAO Maker, and registration I think already open for specific DAO holders of the DAO token. But the ICOs on DAO kind of are the better performing ones that we have seen, or the IDOs, we have to say, and that's why we are going to look more into those. So one is coming up, which is a project that is the largest creator commission platform in Japan. I think there's two things why this is really interesting from like the concept point of view. The creators economy is definitely something that is growing and growing. There are more solutions coming out. This is definitely something which is a great narrative that is, that will grow for. It's not a short-term narrative. The creator economy is a real thing, even out Web3. So in Web3, there's a lot of room for growth for this. So I'm always looking at anything that is creator economy related, because I know that that's also a really good fit with Web3. And this specific project is focused on Japan. And I think that is really interesting because then you kind of have something that might be unique. So even though, it has to compete with a lot of creator commission platforms or creator economy tools, it's probably very targeted to the Japan territory, and that means that it can do really well, right? Anything that has a hyper local focus is something that can do really well. So this is one that we are going to look at. Haven't properly looked at any tokenomics yet and things like that, but we might be covering it a bit more in our channels or on the next live stream. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. Like MakerDAO has positioned themselves as like the foremost in ICO launches essentially. So they do due diligence more to help than perhaps anybody out there in the space. And as everybody knows, there just hasn't been that many ICOs recently. Coinless hasn't done any in a long time, and they'd be one of the premier ones as well. So like definitely one to keep an eye on going forward. And like we like focus specifically on the channel doing early stage projects, ICOs, NFTs, and the like. So come down, say hello to our Telegram. There's links in the description below. The next one is our alpha drop for the week.
Show it to us, Zach.
Pardon?
Show it to us.
I am super excited. Super excited would be an understatement of how excited I am about this project. So let's have a little. I'm going to shift us across here. I'm just going to get my stuff ready because I am like really, really excited. So this is an NFT drop that's going to be happening on the Solana blockchain, right? And it's from DeGODS. I don't know if anyone's been looking at DeGODS on Solana. If you haven't, here was their little teaser video.
Why the fuck is everyone so hyped about DGODs?
Well, you get the idea there. DGODS, brought to you by Frank DeGod, And yeah, they have done incredibly well in the last year, 18 months. So if this is a 24-hour chart, let's go to daily. This is just a price action recently. Okay, so we started here, 8 Solana, a couple of Solanas, very little, like, Jan, Feb last year, like, and then we had a huge run up doing so well. And then recently, like, in the last, like, whatever, 26th of August, we have gone 20th of August from like 270 ETH, which is a lot in general, all the way up to 440. We've had a bit of a retrace. This is because, right, the DeGODS are releasing their new NFT, right? Like, which is a new, like, whatever, 15,000 NFTs, which they're going to be calling Y00ts, okay? And Y00ts, right, is building a community of 15,000 people. And if you had a DGOD, 9,500 are going to be like in the new like NFT collective or in the community. So I'll just put you through the headspace so he can give you a bit of an explanation there. I think he does a great job. I recommend to subscribe as well. So this is a scholarship program to get into Y00ts, which is the new one.
Scholarship program. So there are 3,500 spots in this 15K collection that are allocated to the scholarship program. And you out there, if you bring any kind of value to the NFT ecosystem and you can prove it through building or art or memes or content creation, then you can apply for this scholarship program. You'll still have to pay for your NFT, but you will be hand selected to join this second collection. And this is a super interesting mechanic to me.
Sorry, I just get my mind. So yeah, like it is super interesting how you get picked in opposed to you like winning like a whitelist or something like that. I really enjoy the way that like works, and I think there's going to be like so much more coming from this. So the like I've heard like people like Gary V have applied for this. There's 35,000 applicants have already like put into to try and get on the scholarship program. I've put my application in. I haven't got my haven't got in yet. So Frank, guys, DeGODS, Y00ts, if you see this, I'm mad. I bring a lot to this community. I'm mad hyped. Let's get in. Let's get on. Got my Y00ts behind me back there. Like we're building utopia together. So like I'll show you the little promo video for Y00ts here as well while we're at it. Like, because why not? Like, it's gonna be absolutely sick. I think it's gonna be a sick alpha drop.
Crypto crabs.
Yeah, so that's gonna be sick, man. I really think it's gonna be really interesting.
I'm also excited, Zach. I mean, you shared the link. I did sign up as well. And this comes back to this creator economy thing, right? You can see that they're utilizing this. They're like, okay, what is Web3? And what do we need in Web3? Community is a big thing. We always talk about community, but community doesn't mean people click on a link and get an NFT, right? Community means that everyone contributes in a decentralized way, kind of thing. So yeah, man, this thing. I'm looking forward to this, even if I won't get any. But yeah, definitely a great pick here. This alpha drop.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super interesting. Like we're speaking about evolution in like, the blockchain crypto ecosystem, like we had like back in the days, Bitcoin and Ethereum comes along. And last while we had like NFTs, and this could be like, NFTs 2.0. Like we've only got probably like 2 real blue chip NFTs, which are like the crypto punks in my opinion. And then the Bored Apes, obviously. This could be like, NFTs 2.0. We've seen recently where Goblin Town were ripping up like the whole like NFT playbook, and now we're going to see this, I think, again with Frank DeGODS and all the gang there. It's absolutely lit at this point in time. I personally believe we're going to be seeing like case studies and PhD theses written about this evolution of internet culture. They also have like a dust token. It was brought to you by DeGODS, as I mentioned before. Like Twitter, I'll just maybe throw up like what's happening on Twitter. Like Immortal here saying DeGOD season is here, Y00ts season is coming. There is no bear market. Single-handedly bringing up the whole bear market. And like you have Frank here, like, you know, he's the founder. He's like, you know, he's anon as well, but like, you know, I think it's good in a sense, and he's proved it with DeGOD. So I just think it's going to be like absolutely fascinating to see how this goes. Like, I just check your DMs, but I've DM'd you. I'm sure your DMs are just massive on Twitter, but like, you know, check them. I'm looking forward to it as much as I can. So that's basically Alpha Drop this week, guys. Links in the description below. Get involved. And finally, also, so everybody who gets accepted gets put on the YOLT list. So if you don't know who to follow on Twitter, I know it can be such a daunting place, right? These people have been hand selected, right, to get into the YOLTs like community, right? So like, you know, maybe follow these guys. So we've got like he's a small enough. He's got like 1,500 followers. Like maybe these could be the next like influencers that will bring the next levels of NFTs.
Zach, you bring it fair. This is alpha in alpha, because what you're saying, you know, what you just mentioned, right? These guys that are hand selected by this project, which we all have a very strong feeling that it's gonna do well. What happens in the NFT world is that holders of very prominent NFT, you know, blue chip NFT projects, they're kind of seen as the smart money in the system, right? So any other NFT project is going to give these guys whitelists, or are going to look at these guys' activity, what are they buying next, and based around that, new narratives could be created, hype could be driven. So yeah, you're right. Like, you can already pick those, make a list of these, you know, these hand selected guys. I think that's alpha in alpha before it's even, you know, before they already exist.
And don't get discouraged by, like, if you don't have that many followers or whatever. Like, this guy Y00ts here, he's only got like a couple of hundred. Like, you know, he's got picked. He might have written a great application or something like that. So just get involved, guys. I think it's going to be a serious sick one to have a lot of fun with. And like, they've already got a proven track record in Web3, and I think it could be like super interesting. And also for projects looking to launch, we're seeing like Solana really. With its NFTs coming to the fore, like, and I think that's pretty interesting. And any project looking to launch, like, what I mean is, like, have a look at these guys, have a look at people that are getting picked out here, because if you'd think these are the future, like, maybe you should be having a look there, maybe talking to these like people that are quite small or smaller at the moment, and getting them to associate yourself with their brand or vice versa. Okay, what else do we have, Robin? We have a little bit of
we have one guy that we all know that is maybe that, but maybe he's alive. Like, no one really knows anymore what the hell is going on. This week, Netflix launched a documentary on McAfee, a new one, and within, you know, it's a documentary where it shows that two journalists of Vice news outlet it goes back to 2012, basically followed John McAfee escaping from Belize, where he was wanted for a murder investigation of his neighbor. So they followed him escaping to Guatemala, you know, a crazy journey. These two journalists are quite young back then, I think, and it shows a lot of, you know, video clips of what they experienced with Mac, and they're interviewing his ex-girlfriend that he was with back in those days, and she made a very interesting comment. She basically said that John McAfee is still alive, and that after, for people that don't know, supposedly he committed suicide in a prison. I believe it was it in Spain, Zach?
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it was some.
I'm not quite sure either. But she just came out and said, like, listen, after his death, he called me and he said that he was in Texas, and if she wanted to come and basically, you know, escape with him. So that's really interesting.
Wow. So John McAfee is alive. Are you surprised? If anybody could come back from the dead, I suppose it'd be good old John. Like.
Yeah, so who knows, you know? But it's a fun thing to watch. I think it's I don't think it's the best documentary that's out there, but it's remarkable. He's been a big figure in crypto, especially with Bitcoin. I think a lot of his wealth came from Bitcoin in the end years that he lived or still is living. So definitely an interesting one to check out.
Yeah, I listened to the Behind the Bars. There's Robert Evans one on him, and there was a lot on his crazy he was. I don't think he was a bit psychotic to say the least, and he was doing all sorts of weird things with bath salts and drugs and the like. So quite a colorful character, for want of a better term.
It's a free spirit.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that in this documentary. I don't want to reveal everything, but there are some revelations that you think like, what the fuck, right?
We have a few of the guys commenting. Thank you very much, guys. Sean, guy, dude, is this live? Yes, it is. You guys looking at the Bitcoin price action bear squad? Yeah, we are a bit of bear squad at the moment. We've gone through about 3 or 4 of these crypto winters at this stage. I've been around crypto 2012, 11, 12. So yeah, I just see us dipping around there again. And then Tiberius, I know people here in the US seem to panic every time Jerome Powell speaks, but the economy and inflation is laughable. Just going back to that. I think it's a whole world crypto, and America does lead the charge. Don't get me wrong. Europe probably next, and then the rest. But there's a lot more going on there, I would think. And then if McAfee is the guy, if he's going to fake his own death, he's been hiding in NFT form on the blockchain somewhere. Look, mate, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Stranger things has happened. I saw Tupac rap in a hologram. Coachella 6 years ago. That was nuts. So who knows? Finally.
It looks like Bitcoin is taking a little hit. Maybe that, John Paul is speaking, I think, right? So
sorry, Oh shit, Bitcoin. I'll just go back to it. We have an absolute crash of Tron 5000.
So maybe this is.
Yeah, we just called it. We called it. Yeah, fucking hell. Oh my god.
We just said it, right?
So we're on the hourly here. We got down to the 15, change the time frames. You know what the technical analysis is, though, ladies and germs. It's just horoscopes for men in their 30s. It has taken a mad hit. Okay, down 1,800 or 100 bucks or
man, this is going down because I think everyone is looking at this range where it's if it goes below 20k 900, it's gonna go drop to 1,900 90,000, and you kind of see that action is going on right now in real time. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. So we've got a few some big reddies there. I wonder, is there some news somewhere to say
so that was a little bit of a fake out there, right? The green candles. Everyone was anticipating on some news that would be positive for Bitcoin. I think so. We haven't followed it. I don't know what Powell is saying right now, but it does look it has an impact. It definitely has an impact.
Well, there's also a full moon on September 10th, apparently, according to Tiberius, and we have everyone's favorite crypto astrologer, Marim, who can't be right or can't be wrong. It's bad luck to be superstitious. That's what I say. So we have a little bit of a crash here on the crypto, but one thing will Bitcoin will survive. That's the one guarantee. Powell's still hawkish on inflation. Yeah, I think he is. But I don't think inflation's as bad over there as it is in the UK, which has railway strikes with Mick Lynch leading the RMT. And Labour is just a debacle with Kerry Steimer. And who knows what the Conservatives want over there with Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak leading the charge for their leadership. The S&P has plummeted as well, according to Sean. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're going to be in this for a while, this crypto winter. So just be patient. You'll have lots of chance to get in and at good rates, at good levels. So patience is key. That's what we're saying. Finally, I will move on. We'll have a bit of weird Web3. This is one of my favorite, not one of my favorite stories, but one of the stories I think is super important. So we have here Professor Matthew Green, an absolute G, has re-uploaded the Tornado Cash code on GitHub for teaching purposes. If you're not aware of the story, Tornado Cash, which is essentially a smart contract, got banned by the United States government because it was a terrorist. And well, I don't know how you can have a smart contract being a terrorist, but like, yeah, basically they shut down anyone who, they took out the code off GitHub, anyone who contributed to the code, they deleted their GitHubs, and you can get into some serious trouble. So Matthew Green, this absolute G from John Hopkins University, said, I've extensively used Tornado Cash and Tornado Nova source code to teach concepts related to cryptocurrency, privacy, and zero-knowledge technology. My students have built amazing projects from the code. The loss or decreased availability of this source code will be harmful to scientific and technical communities. So he's kept it there. He's re-uploaded to GitHub, and he has also got a hard copy, I think, somewhere there as well. So what does this say? Well, that says that, well, like, code is super important, and it's free speech that was agreed by the United States in the early 2000s, or late 90s, early 2000s, with a landmark hearing. And I think, we need people like this, like Professor Green, to stand up against like heavy-handed political moves against like things like Tornado Cash and smart contracts. Now, your man, the developer, is in arrest in the Netherlands, and we don't know the full story there. But just on the background of, like, it's a private smart contract, you cannot sanction it with OFAC. Like, that's bizarre. And like a smart contract can't like defend itself in court or any of that. Like, it's and it's a public good in the sense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna, like, criminals use the road, so we're gonna ban like tarmac or the road. Like, it's bizarre. Like, come on.
Yeah,
let's start thinking about these things properly. Like,
yeah, what do we want, right? It's restrictions kind of can hurt our freedoms, I think, in a lot of ways, and it's really hard to find that balance there, I think, with these type of things. But yeah, I think there's something else that you need to be tackling if there is an issue. It shouldn't be privacy, right? Privacy shouldn't be the issue, I think. But yeah, that's my opinion, and it shows that, even within crypto, where we think we are quite decentralized and stuff, and we have options for privacy, we really have to think deeply about what that means and if it's true or what can happen. And I think, this is what this event will do. People will take a step back and think, okay, wait a second. Even Tornado Cash is not really, that safe as a privacy type of solution. So interesting, very interesting. And we just need, we need something to keep our privacy. I think right on privacy is one of the most important things for the human beings. Without that, I think life is pretty shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we definitely need it. And like projects like Monero and those layer zeros, layer ones, like we definitely need that in the crypto space going forward. We're gonna have there's going to be lots of things in regards to identity, pseudo identity, like digital IDs, and these things are going to get figured out, because I think at this point in time, the way we do things, signing in with Google, Facebook logins, it's all just like, data. Like, if you ever have the chance, I'd thoroughly recommend read The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by what's her name, Shoshana Zuboff. It's absolutely fascinating read on like how predictive analysis models are like, really infringing on our autonomy as individuals and as a collective society. So yeah, I think that I will leave it on that note. Guys, come down, like and subscribe, share, like, please. We're just starting this off. I hope you find this content interesting and good. Robin, do you have anything to say yourself? Anything to sign off?
Guys, thanks for everyone watching. And I'm going to open that Bitcoin chart. I think this is interesting to see where this will drop with this news. And I'm definitely going to follow the news. There's a lot of conversations going on in our Telegram group. So if you want to talk about Bitcoin, if you want to talk about Y00ts, if you want to talk about any of the other things, it's unlike what they do to Tornado Cash. We're quite open and free for everyone to join. So see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Take it easy. Thank you very much, Tiberius, Sean, all the boys and girls in the chat there, Bede. Just quickly, Tiberius, digital IDs are becoming a big thing here in the US. Order to get their government benefits. Yeah, I think like it's I'm against those type of things. I think it's too much. Even like if you think about like in London on the tube, like you have like you use your credit card now, right? So then they can kind of track where you are at all times through your credit card. I think it's bizarre. I always use the Oyster card. Yeah, just be careful. Be careful out there. Because anyway, so guys, come down to Telegram. Please give this a like and subscribe. We try our best to bring the best content you can. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely Friday. We'll be here again next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.